Yo, what's up? Welcome back to DC Fab. Today, I got a new accessory. Which end's the camera on? This end down here for the 24 Tundra Hybrid that I have, and I've been sliding in and out of it, and my wife's been sliding in and out of it, and it's kind of problematic. It came with the rigid steps on it, not rigid brand, but just the hard tube steps from Toyota. And they only poked out like 4 inches from the rocker plate of the truck. So it was real easy to slip off of them, especially if they were wet or something like that. And I actually did once. I slipped off and like an idiot kind of tried to catch myself and about dislocated my thumb. So I took them off probably within the first 3 months I have in the truck, sold them. And now I'm finally getting around to taking advantage of some holiday sales and picked up a set of the AMP Research automatic deploying steps. So here, check them out. Here's how they came. Nice packaging, nice box. Those were actually shrink wrapped on both ends together in the bags. And then you got your boxes labeled 1, 2, and 3 with the components. They actually put the components for like the front, rear, middle hinge assemblies in different color shrink wrap. So that's kind of cool. So the green or one or the other, front or back, or front or rear, and then the clear or front or rear. I'm not sure in which order, but everything's laid out real nice. Instructions are pretty good, fairly simple. I already flipped through them a little bit, but I'll take you with me as I get this install going. Yeah, a little disclaimer. I looked at putting the OE steps on here, but to be honest, the parts guys could not tell me whether the wiring was on my truck or not. Even though my particular truck is a limited with the technology package, I still had to go to the lot and find a VIN number of a truck that had the electronic steps on them before they could even look it up. And then there was a little confusion. I did look and see where the actual factory switch goes in the little switch rocker panel by your left knee, door side of the driver's seat. And the switch is available, and there is one loose pigtail there, or harness clip pigtail, that looks like it probably plugs into something like that. I've ordered the factory switch because I'm going to try to integrate it, because it adds a feature. It adds an off feature, and it adds a always down or always up feature. So you have control of it rather than just the amp doing its automatic thing. Every time a door opens, the steps deploy. So I like that idea. I'm going to try to integrate the factory switch in, and we'll see how it goes. But I was just going to let you know that option is out there. The dealer MSRP is about $2,700 for all the parts. But that's just walk-in customer. If you shop online at any Toyota parts dealership online, it's about 20 to 30% off MSRP. And that comes out to about $1,800. Whereas the amps, I happen to get them on sale for $1,600 during the holiday sales. No shipping. I had a local retailer that was partnered with AMP or Truck Access or whatever that company is. I think it says it on the box there, Real Truck. Yeah, Real Truck. And so I didn't pay shipping or anything. They just ordered them in, matched the online pricing, and everything went from there. But instructions are really cool. Let's move on to that. So basically it tells you, if you follow the legend on your inventory, which is the first couple pages, it numbers every part. So it's real easy to come over here and say, attach body mount 23 to rear drive linkage number 2 using the supplied conical washer bolts. Number 8, torque bolts to 16 foot-pounds. And so pretty easy to identify everything. If you just go back to your legend, look at the parts, everything is packaged really simply. Obviously, these are the motor linkages because they have the little motors on them. And these are the other linkages, just the idler linkages. So without the motors attached to them. But anyway, so we'll carry on and I'll bring you back in. All right, all the plates are on. little long skinny plates on the motor, and then the more rectangular plates are on the ones without the motor attached to it. They're all torqued to 16 foot-pounds, or, yep, number 3. Okay, so the next step uses, let's just say, a lot of words. So slide the mounting T-nut into position, position it about 16 inches from the rear, the board to the bracket, pretty self-explanatory. The T-nut is not in your hardware kit. You flip your boards up. There's a front edge right there, nice, pretty, and finished. And there's a back edge. It's a little thicker, and you have 2 T-nuts. They could be anywhere along the length of the board. They can just slide. They're just not going to come out because of your end caps. But there's the T-nuts they're talking about. They're already mounted in the board. So again, really straightforward. It just shows you front of vehicle, rear of vehicle. This right here, they're talking about, there's actually 2 different planes there with that bolt and these 2 bolts. There's kind of a curve like that in the body panel. So that's how you know that that's the front. Fits on the wider plates like that. And then these are all on the same plane for the rear. And those bolt holes are actually only about an inch apart or so, the 2 together right here. And they're on one single plane all the way, obviously, and it goes into the narrow bracket. So just another simple illustration to keep you in line. Very easy. The light brackets that it's pointing out there, the little metal light brackets, they look like this. It's just a light bracket. They go on the single bolt side. So see, you got 2 bolts, 1, 2, and then you got 1. So the light bracket goes on top of the bracket and on the single bolt side. There's no bolt in that hole. So that single, same thing with these. It's gonna go on the side that only has 1 bolt in it. There's 2 on this other end back here that you can't see. Right here. You'll put 1 in each of these holes, but then on the single one that you're only using 1 right here, that's where your light bracket will actually go, just to keep things simple. All right, so again, looking at the picture, it said 16 inches from the back all the way to there. So that's about right. So here they are, mounted up. Super simple. Realistically, you could probably have this done in 30 to 45 minutes. Just actually getting them mounted. Super simple, straightforward. Instructions very good. Now it's just on to installing the motors to the rear ones and to the rear hinges, and running the wiring, which will probably take a little while. But again, doesn't look overly complicated. The directions are really good. They did a really good job laying it out, making it simple. So I'll let you know how that goes as well. All right, so my first complaint is they provided 2 countersunk bolts to attach a support bracket to on each of the rear hinges. And my first complaint is that they're security Torx, which is pretty rare to have a Torx that big that's got the security pin in the center. And you're not going to be able to break that out of there. The other thing is, if I can get it to focus here, is I'm pretty sure they're 2 different sizes. And the head diameters are actually different. It's just irritating to me. I like things to match. The threads are the same, they're both 1/4-20, but the bolts are clearly from a different manufacturer, and they are, you know, the tamper Torx or the security Torx. I don't like that either. So I may just go find a 1/4-20 Allen same thing, just a stainless steel bolt at the local hardware store. I'm gonna see if I have the right socket, which I've got a lot of little bit sets and stuff. So got a little Cornwell set, or actually Snap-on Blue Point set here. And I think one of those two might work, but just a pet peeve. I feel like at this quality, and you know, the customers who buy amp over some of the other competitors, you know, hardware makes a big difference, and little shit like this really bugs me. So all right, so after thinking about it for a while and trying to figure it out, they want you to use a bolt and a nut, number 8 and number 16, in this location right here. Basically, you put the bolt in from in between the two brackets pointing out. You put the bracket arm on down here, and then you put a nut over it. Right there and right there on the driver and passenger side. For one, these holes are huge. So with a 1/4 inch bolt through there, you know, it's sausage down a hallway type situation. And again, I'm back to the issue with the Torx, the security Torx, and there being different size heads. That boss underneath the bracket and that you put this bolt through is actually tapped and threaded for the same 8mm that these use, 8x125. So what I did is went to my bolt stash and found 2 low profile head Allen's 8x125. I'm gonna call that an inch. Let me see how long it is. Let's see, I'm gonna call that, we'll burn an inch here. I'm gonna call that 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch, so roughly 16 to 20 millimeters or so. And it won't poke through, and I'm just gonna use this to go through the bracket like you were typically bolting something on. I'm literally just gonna go through this and into the threaded hole that's there, instead of using the smaller 1/4 inch that has weird heads and stuff on it. And with this length, that's enough that it doesn't protrude into the bracket to interfere with the hinge mechanism or anything. I'll just put some Loctite on it and take her home. I feel like that's gonna be a better solution. So a couple things. The instruction booklet that I got didn't include page 14 and 15, which is for the hybrid. And on the hybrid, the controller is where the battery should be, so I was left wondering where to connect the positive and negative leads when there's no battery here. So after getting online and downloading the instructions for the product on Real Truck, it showed you page 14 and 15, which is the passenger side fuse box, and this one on this back end by the fender is the positive lead it wants you to use, and then the ground lug is just that ground lug right there on the fender where you can see the black and white wires coming in, which it already has this ring terminal on it to go there. So anyway, so what I did is this little connector here that goes to the battery lug, the factory one, is encased by this guy, and it's 2 pieces. The way you get it off is to just go ahead and take the nut off the stud, and the whole thing will slide up. And when it does, see if I can get my hand in position here so I can show you. When it does slide off, this 2-piece thing here will unsnap, and you can see the 2 little snaps, one on that side, one on that side, and then there's one clip right here at the top that clips in right there on the box. So anyway, the way that works is this piece, that rectangular groove there, I trimmed out the piece in between it. So the piece in between here I just cut it out with a pair of dikes, and it still slides on to the terminal like that. So that's on there, won't go anywhere. And then this piece will drop over and snap back into place. So it's locked back in, everything's good to go. And what I did was forgot to put the wire that I wanted to put in there. So let me take it back apart and I'll show you the right way to do it. Okay, much better. So what you're looking at now is the little notched piece that I made. So notch, just so this ring terminal can still go on the stud and lay in between them. And once this is all said and done, let's see, I want that piece to lay in underneath the factory cover that snaps in. So what I'll do now is slide this back on with that little cover in there, and of course it won't work because it's now hitting right here. The insulation is, so that's a pretty tight fit. Let me troubleshoot this for a second. I'll get back with you. And take 3. So what I did is just took a round file. If you can see, find something in the background. I didn't see that arc right here. I just took a round file and ran it through there just to make a little clearance in that lip. And that should do it. That should cover over the wire now. So let's see how that goes. Got you in here. Make sure it's centered. Front went in, the back still hanging up a little bit. The reason I know is because see, it's still a little proud right here. Should be flush with that other edge. So take 4, let me have another look. All right, take 1, I mean 4, 5. I just kept whittling until that connector fit. The problem I ran into is that it poked through. So you can see the silver down there in the bottom. That's kind of the whole purpose of this is to protect that terminal from any grounding or shorting. And so what I'll probably do is touch that with a little bit of liquid rubber cement or something, or liquid, not rubber cement, liquid electrical tape. They sell it, or you could probably just do some black RTV or something, but I would certainly cover that back up, that little spot, just to make sure nothing gets in there. I also don't want water or something getting in there. Let's see how much is covered when I actually put, this does have a lip that goes over that, so maybe it'll still be covered. Let me see what we're looking like when I put this back on. Let's put that on the right way. Back side first. Okay, actually, look at that. It covers it. I'm still gonna put a little dab on there just to be safe, just as a water seal. But the lid actually covers it, so that's not a bad deal there. All right, so not sure where I'm gonna mount the controller yet. I have K&N filters, so I thought about drilling into here, mounting it in between the fuse box on the K&N plate. I thought about putting it on the little fender wall, like right here. Kind of like on that side over there. It'd technically be like right in there, but on this side. But what I ended up doing is there's a little coolant tank right here. There's a bolt right here and a bolt right there on the other side. And I just undid those bolts so I could push this over. And I fed the wires. In between there's a lip halfway down this tank that there's space below it. Anything above this lip, there's not really any space because of your brackets. But if you detach it and get it below that lip, there's can't really see it, but there's quite a bit of room there. And I just fished them around. There's a little bracket back there. You can see the little bracket right there. So I went under that. Let's see if I can get some light back there. And then I just brought the 2 wires up past that bracket, and I'm gonna route them with the orange power wires back behind the controller. And one side, the short side, drops down on the passenger side, which is right there over the fender hump down the frame. And then the long side will just go all the way across the dash, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just drop down and go to the frame rail and take it to the running boards on the driver's side. But I just wanted to catch you up right there by taking the couple bolts out there. They're not super easy. I had to disconnect this little plug right here, which goes to your controller, just to get to this bolt on this side, but no big deal. Just simple push clip, pull that out. I believe they are 12 millimeters. And there they are. So let's get those put back in. All right, so obviously it's a different day. What I was trying to do was hide the module. I like things to be kind of stealthy. I was gonna hide it. I was talking about that previously, but what happened is I ran out of length all the way down here at the back door. The wiring just wouldn't reach the motor. It's about 2 feet short. So I thought about asking for a 1 foot, 2 foot extension, but then I decided, no, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna remount this on the hybrid, just on top of the hybrid module right there, kind of like the sketch shows in the instructions. But you know, I'm not a fan of it, but I think it's gonna be okay. So all I'm doing now is I'm gonna clean up this little leader of the harness. I'm gonna pull this one back a little bit. Anyway, I'm just gonna clean that up a little bit so you don't see exposed wires. We'll see the loom, and then I'm just gonna kind of follow these wires back across. This is the wire that goes across to the driver's side. But I guess moral of it all is it's okay to do things 2, 3, 5 times, as long as nobody else knows about it but you. Tell them it was really easy. Got it right the first time. Yep. So under here there's a little guard. I'll show it to you. It's right here. Little fender guard. It's just a splash guard to protect that side of the motor, keep stuff from splashing on the exhaust, that kind of stuff. There's little clips in there. These little guys, right? Let's see if I can get it to focus on one of them. Like right here. Come on, focus, buddy. Let's try one down here. And maybe this one right here. Okay, and if you see, there's 2 little tabs in there. You can see them right there and there. And all you have to do to get those out is get you a pair of needle nose pliers and just squeeze those 2 tabs together. Just like that. And it comes right out. So again, I do not know how to get this thing to focus. Okay, so it's just 2 little tabs. If you squeeze them together, it'll, yeah, get that right out of there. And here it is installed. There's just 4 of those little push clips with the squeeze tabs, but it's just right underneath the fender there. Here's where the factory switch goes for the running boards. It's right here. It's a little 3-way switch. Here's the blank that was in it. It's just a snap-in blank. I just literally, you can basically just get your fingers under there or a pry tool. You don't have to, you can remove this side panel and push that out, but you can also just use a pry tool and pull your switch panel directly out from any of these edges right there. and it'll come out pretty easy. It's not in there too tight, but there's other ways to do it. Like I said, if you remove this side panel, just pop it out, you can get your hand all the way back there and push it out as well. So all right, trying to finish up this Tundra and the amp running board install. It's been a couple days. It's actually after Christmas now, but well, I was just gonna get you under the hood and show you where I ended up doing all the wiring. And yeah, I'm waiting for the OEM switch that goes into the dash panel to integrate that in as well. Right now it just plugged into the OBD port so that if you open the door, it opens. I'll show you that, but I'd like to get the factory switch integrated. It's pretty neat. You can turn it on or off. Sometimes you may be off-road or doing something and you don't want the steps to deploy, so it'd be nice to have that feature to turn it off auto or even lock it on with the doors shut. That'd be kind of cool too, so that the steps are actually deployed, like if you're washing your truck or something like that. But let me get you flipped around here. So here is, I re-loomed it. I just used one large loom to consolidate the two. I used this bolt location right here, put a clamp on it, and then I just routed the power wire down, little zip tie right here, and then everything's kind of nice and hidden in there. I actually, instead of running the ground all the way to that ground, I just grounded it to the bolt where I took the washer off. I was gonna take that off, put a little piece of heat shrink on it right there, but we'll see. But yeah, this cleaned up pretty good. I'm happy with it. Said I would rather have it hidden, but in the scheme of things, like it's mounted pretty well. I was gonna 3D print a little bracket that taped to it, but hell, I used about 3 pieces stacked on top of each other of the 3M double stick foam tape, and it seems to be holding it really well. So I haven't even done anything else with printing a little bracket. These are zip tie channels, so if you did want to have some kind of hook or something down here and then just zip tie it to it, you could do that as well. So, yeah, turned out pretty good. It's pretty clean. I tried to tuck everything real nice and back, and it all turned out pretty good. Moving this here instead of trying to hide it here or up here gave me the extra length I needed. So moral of that story is there's really no right way to run your wires, but there is a wrong way. Don't run it by anything hot, anything that moves. Yeah, don't tear them up trying to get them installed, you know, when you're pulling them and feeding them through. But I ended up finding the sweet spot for where I wanted everything, and where it would kind of function the most least intrusive way. But here's the steps. They work really, really well. The lights are great. You can see a little blue halo. It's still light out, but I ended up adjusting them back a little bit. I wanted the distance right where the cab has this body line right here. I wanted it there. It was back a little further with their measurement that you set it to the first hinge there from this end. These caps will just come right off as well. You can pop those off, and that way if you do have to hammer, like your brackets that hold the running board to the hinges, don't tighten those down all the way, and you can still slide the board back and forth. But take those caps off so you don't hammer through them. They're just plastic, but you can just pop those off. But anyway, so I set mine up here, and then it stayed out of the curve there, and it's a little more forward than where they had it, but I figured it'd be nice to be able to stand on that, like if I want to clean the windshield or something as well. So that's why I pushed it back a couple inches, so forward a couple inches actually. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this install. Please comment if you need any further explanation on anything I did, or just I'll try to follow up with another video when I get the factory switch and integrating that in. There are some wires under the dash, unused pigtails, so I'm pretty sure one of those goes to that switch, but I won't know until I match the connectors up once I get the switch. So I'll post another video updating that progress as I get to it. But thanks for checking it out. I hope this helps some of y'all, and stay tuned. There'll be a little more content on this guy coming. It's a 73 Super, complete chassis redo. Some really cool old wheels I'll tell you more about later. And yep, just trying to get this thing ready to be painted.